Oh hey ManCavians, this is Bob for DaBob's ManCave, and I'm at the top of my helix right now, and I'm working on finishing up the very top of it. As you can see, I've got some backdrops up here, and I got this bridge that I put in over here, and it's just kind of loose. It's just hanging there, and I need to keep it nice and level, or at the angle that it needs to be for the grade. And how do you hook that up? I don't have any trestle stuff underneath it. It's just floating, and I kind of want to show you how I'm going to do that today. So we're going to show you how I put all this stuff together, and we're going to hang it with some of this silver beading wire that you can get from Walmart, 0.45 millimeter, and it's going to be pretty neat. So let's go take a look. Okay, I know I had this mountain all kind of completed, but I'm not quite done yet. I took out the section of track on the top of this helix because I'm redoing how that all looks as it goes over the top of this mountain. It just didn't look right. It was out of place. I'm trying to make a smaller trestle or some sort of bridge that is going to go from this side all the way over to there. And that piece is right here. This is where the track will lie on top of this. And a few other modifications are coming to it. Okay, I took this and routed out the ledge, basically, this little area here. All the way around from one side to the other. So it's 3/4 inch down to 1/4 inch width here to line up with the plywood that's right up there. So you're wondering, how am I going to attach this? Well, on the ends here, I'm going to put another block of wood on the other side and put a dowel rod through the end right over in here, and one on the other side, and that way I can just slide it in and it will be somewhat mounted. It may not be level, but that is going to be done with something else. Now, how did I make all this? I used a router with a straight bit, and then I took a angled bit to angle this off because when I put the track right here, it was a little bit too close to this side, so I angled it back to kind of look like some sort of carved out part of the rock in some way. And when the trains come around here, they don't lean over into the wall like it was if I did not put an angle on it. And these wood pile 15 millimeter screw eyes, and either put them up on top here or in the back so they're not really seen. And I kind of want it to somewhat look like it's mounted to the mountain wall, so I'm going to be detailing above the helix all the way to the ceiling, or close to it, at least closer to the ceiling, with some more scenery. So as you can see with this auto rack, it has plenty of clearance all the way around the track. Now that I push this back, the track will be pretty much close to this edge right here all the way around. Okay, all I did was put a dowel in between these two pieces of wood and screw it in the top, squeezing the dowel in between here. And so that's just holding or lining up this track board here. That's going to be just hanging out there in free space. And I got one over here as well. Just kind of got those pieces aligned. I got another jumper board underneath on the other side because it was just going to be in the way of the track before. This board right here in the front, that's going to be extended up toward the ceiling on 3 of these braces. Okay, I put in these screw eyes along here. There are 25 of them. And so they're 1.5 inches apart. The line is going to go through each one of these and back up to another one at the top. I have one up here. I have 2 over there. And 1 over there. Plenty of room right here to put a little bit of scenery right in front of that. Probably going to be foam core is what I'm going to use for that, and scenic it up somehow, but I'll get it done. Okay, now that I have this bridge figured out, what I'm going to do is I have some foam core that I cut out and made to fit around this bridge, so it kind of looks like a tunnel coming out of there. A lot of trial and error. This is the second piece of foam core I had to cut. First one was kind of a little bit too big in this opening, and it just did not look right, so I had to recut this foam piece too, because I had cut that a little bit weird. And so this second piece is for both of these. You know, a little bit of trial and error, you know, is going to happen all the time. But okay, I painted this with Rust-Oleum latex, Blossom white. Took all the screw eyes out before I painted it, and then put them back in. And on to the next step. I got to decorate the backdrops. Why? Because they're kind of secured in, and if I put this bridge in, it's going to be mounted, and then I can't pull off the backdrop. So I've got to do the backdrops before I do the bridge. It's just the way it goes together, I guess, because I can't put the cables from the eye hooks to each other to lift the bridge and hold it up when it's all mounted, so I really can't really do that. Well, I may not be Bob Ross, but we're going to try some painting, and I use this black acrylic to fill in all these deep gouges. I just gouged in all the foam and made all these crevices and made strata rock. And then I'm going to take and mix some of this raw umber and I believe some of the neutral gray, and kind of mix that together and get sort of a lighter color of the raw umber. Mix it together, swirl it around. Use a really stiff painter's brush, because you're going to be dabbing into this and swiping across, and it just really helps to have a stiffer brush and not a real loose brush on this, because you got to get in these crevices and so forth, and the stiffness really helps. And just keep on going on the tops of these rocks, and use a little water on your brush. Keep your brush wet, and it also thins out your paint so that it gets down inside those cracks and crevices. And I keep on going across all this stuff, and I'm mixing in some more raw umber and the gray, and trying to just changing up, get different shades across this whole canvas of styrofoam that I have here. As you can see, it starts looking a little bit more colorful. And here's a little bit better view when I'm all done with those couple of colors. Now you can see that it's pretty defined and it's got a little bit of personality. Now let's add in some of this yellow ochre and raw umber together and see what I get. And now you put some of that down inside those low-lying areas, kind of made it look like there was gold in these them-thar hills, and it's really starting to come more alive. And now I'm going to take just the neutral gray, and I'm going to kind of just brush across the tops, just lighten up the rocks that are there, and so you can see the darker colors coming through, but it also looks a little bit lighter, like it's worn down on the outside by the wind and the rain and everything. And so I just keep swiping across the top of it and just coloring it all up, and you can see how well this looks. Looks really, really good. And then I'm put on this other side here to be part of the side of the tunnel. Painted that up a little bit. I'll probably put more scenery on there later. Found a picture online. It was free. And I was able to print it on 11 by 17 inch paper. I had to print two of them because this board is just not short enough to match the paper size. But I got it big enough that I could fit it on across the top of the height of the board. And this will be one of my backdrops. And the bridge out of the top of the helix comes out of here. I just put it on some foam core, cut it up, folded it over on the edges, and it'll go right in where it needs to go in. Okay, I have the bridge installed. I got some backdrops up there and changed the backdrop on this side, but I just got done putting all the track back on, and let's do a run. What I did was I just found some photographs on the internet, obviously, or you can take your own photographs, high resolution photographs, so you can blow them up and get some pretty good detail. This one happens to be stretched out to the side to make it wider, and it wasn't the best, but it works and looks good from afar, so I'm going to stay with that. And I printed it up on 11 by 17 inch paper on a copy machine. If you have that available to you, that works great. Otherwise, you're going to have to use the 8.5 by 11 paper and splice together your own pieces. And I just kind of cut it, seamed it together, and taped it down with double-sided tape. Now I showed you the bridge already and how I put that together. Now it's mounted, and I need to run wires from here down to each one of these eye holes or screw eyes down here mounted along the bridge. And so basically I'm going to take this silver beading wire. It's basically bead wire or jewelry wire, and I got this at Walmart. It's like $5 for 300 feet. So I can use a lot of it for a number of projects. It kind of resembles cabling. So anywhere I can use N-scale cabling or something like that, I can use this kind of wire, and it's strong and it looks pretty good. So I'm going to start putting this together and just watch how I do it. Since I've never done this before, we're all going to learn at the same time. So you probably want to take a lot of this wire and unspool it, because I'm going to be running 6 of these loops all in one long loop. So I only have to tie it off twice. feed it through wherever I need to go and get to the point where I've got it all the way fed through from the loop or from the supply spool, and then tie it off and then work my way back and tighten it all up and making sure that the bridge is level. So I'm going to go through here. And go through the outside of the loop. And bring it back up through the same direction of the screw eye that I just first did. So now I have sort of a loop right there. And I hope you can see that. I've got two wires right here. So I've got the other end coming in over here. There you go. I'll just keep on going through to all of them and keep pulling it through and show you what I do at the end. Okay, I'm only doing 6 of these loops to run through here per mounting screw eye, and then I just have to tie this off. I kind of tie it like a fishing leader. If you ever tied a hook onto a fishing line, you basically loop it through the loop, wrap the line around itself. When you have enough, you take the end, you slide it up through this little loop right along that you've created right here next to the eye, and you pull. You pull on it and it ties the knot. So now I have a good anchor that I can pull back my supply through all these eye holes. Now what I have is a nice little bubble level here that I actually got from a picture hanging kit, and I just kind of lay that on top of my bridge to check my level, and right now it's level because I have it braced in the other area of the bridge, which as you can see right here. And so that was my reference level for this whole bridge. So everything's kind of suspended from that one wire right now, which will get removed once I get all the other wires in. So now you just take and just pull your supply lines through. You kind of want to keep an eye on whether or not these are too tight and they're pulling up on the bridge and ruining your level. So there's going to be some constant checking and readjusting the tension on these guide wires, and just make it work. Make sure it all looks right, in the right spot, looks tight enough, kind of looping on itself, overhand kind of not. Once it's kind of tied off, you can cut off the extra. Leave a little extra there hanging out so you can see the end of it. Cut off the beginning tail. And there you go. It's all strung up. Here's a closer up look if you did not or were not able to see that very well, but here's the anchor point. Looks like it's kind of mounted to the side of this rock wall. And I looped them through. each of those eye hooks. This one seems a little loose, but that's okay. I get the effect that I'm looking for. And now I just have to do those 3 eye hooks over there to get all the way around. Well, I've got those done. Got all the lines in. Now to just do a test of it. So there you go, ManCavians. That's how I built my modern suspended bridge on top of my Helix. It looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Took a little bit of time. It took me about a month of working on it and getting all those little tiny pieces done, because you only could do it in a certain order. If you didn't have the backdrops put up, you couldn't really put the wires on to string it all up and get it secured. And all that stuff had to be done way before I actually put the bridge together. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to put it up. So it's a little bit of struggle, as you're learning to do things on the fly. I did start off wanting to use some picture hanger wire, but that was just way too thick and it was not going to be able to tie right, and it wasn't going to look the way I wanted it to look. So I ended up using the different wire, the jewelry wire. You can get that at any hobby store that has beading, and Walmart or Hobby Lobby. I think I picked this stuff up at Walmart, and so it works great. It looked good, and it's actually functional. The bridge is actually suspended by those suspension wires, and I think it looks pretty good. So if you like what you saw here today, leave a comment down below. Give me a thumbs up. Maybe even ring that bell down there, and consider subscribing. Get more video updates when I put out something new. And as always, ManCavians, happy model railroading. You stay off those tracks.